The first time I read Lord of the Rings, I was a teenager. I was drawn to it, I suppose, because of, having a grandfather who told me a lot of stories, mythology, and I was very drawn to it because of this, and just picked it up. Despite it being a very big book, I could not put it down once I started to read it. I've read it several times since and have to say it is my all-time favorite book. There are people who haven't read it, but a lot of people know about the story, and it's kind of, when you talk about Lord of the Rings, people will say, oh, I read that so many years ago, or I've always meant to read that, that book, so you always get that reaction. Everyone knows about the book. One of the main messages, I suppose, is good against evil. And I think that it's a theme, that a lot of people can relate to. It's there in mythologies and history. It's always been there. So it's something that people can, I think, relate to. I think that, a lot of people would be drawn to stories, mythology, and it's very strong within Ireland. There were storytellers, something that I suppose in a way is kind of dying away, because of the likes of TV and radio, but you still have quite a strong sense of people still loving, Irish mythology. When I heard firstly about the film was from Roger Ames, who's the chairman of Warner Music, and I was having lunch with himself and Nicky Ryan, who's the producer I work with, and Roma Ryan, who's the lyricist who works with me. It was about 2 years ago, and he mentioned about that the Lord of the Rings, they were making the movie, and he knew that I was a terribly big fan, and so was Roma, and kind of mentioned about, would we be interested, and was like, of course, I would love to be involved, but at that stage I was working on my own album and really didn't know how it would work out. Would it happen? Would it not happen, Then it was the beginning of May, and that was kind of, I had been promoting A Day Without Rain for the last sort of 7 months, and it was coming up to the end of the promotion. And I remember saying at that time, even though we were supposed to take a break and take a holiday, I remember saying I would work through summer if there was the opportunity to work on Lord of the Rings. And the call actually came from the director. Nicky had never read the book, and the director, Peter Jackson, he was quite anxious about his reaction as well, because he wanted to see, for people, there are a lot of people who haven't read the book, like I mentioned, and he's hoping to be able to reach out to quite a vast audience to introduce Lord of the Rings to everyone worldwide. They actually had done a very rough edit of the film, and we were the first 3 outside of the people who were involved, in the movie to actually view it. I was quite anxious to see what the reaction to what we felt, because he knew I was a big fan, and he was quite anxious to see how I would react. And I have to say it works, definitely, because it was just wonderful. Well, after meeting with Peter Jackson, he pointed out that he wanted me to sing and to write the end title song. And what he felt, though, because there's such a beautiful flow to the actual film itself, he wanted also that my voice was introduced somewhere else. And so there's this beautiful romantic moment where 2 main characters, which is Arwen and Aragorn, And they have this beautiful moment on this bridge, and it really inspired me to write, I suppose, it's their moment, a song to them, and it's called Aniron, which to translate means I desire. I didn't feel any pressure, that actually the inspiration, because of the visual, was so beautiful. It was there with me when I went to write that melody. The other song, May It Be, the end title, because it wasn't with a visual, I didn't feel, too pressurized, but I did have an idea as to what direction Peter was hoping, that the song would veer in. Everybody kind of knows that there was a few languages created, for the elves. Roma immediately, she knew what language they actually spoke. It's a forbidden language that the elves spoke only amongst themselves in Rivendell and at Sindarin. And she thought it would be really beautiful if the song was completely sung in this language. And this is a language that has been created by Tolkien himself, as well as with the Quenya. And what was nice was we were able to use the Quenya for the end title for the song May It Be. So it was really exciting because it's the first time it's been done. While I was writing the music, she was really sort of studying these languages. But what was interesting for me was because of my first language being Gaelic. I had, it was very strange because some of the sounds were similar, and that's when I spoke to Roma. She sort of said, well, yeah, because, he studied at length Celtic languages, and so there's a great sort of sense of the Welsh language with Gaelic, very much within the languages that he created. So I have to say I felt very at home singing these songs. The way you spell Quenya is Quenya, Quenya, which is a bit of a coincidence, I suppose.